550. I had a lot of money I could have saved, and I did actually. I saved a lot of money. But the thing is, my wages went up because I worked. If I was making $10 an hour, it was because I was at that company for 4 years.
Yep.
It's not that I was starting out making that kind of money. So, the reflection in there, yeah, that's how it works. That's how it works in any field that you go, or at least it used to. Now, not so much, because you're not going to get those anymore. Like, you're going to get like 35 cents a year maybe, because now you've jumped so far with it, and they really don't get anything for it. I don't blame a business for cutting hours when they know that they're not really getting anything for it, because you're not getting the real experience out of the people that stay.
Yeah. And you're having to pay them more.
Yeah. So that was where I was. But at the same time, though, they put you in a loop, because all of a sudden, well, I had to move in with my brother because we were in a position where it was $1,300 a month for a 2-bedroom. It was $1,000, almost to $11,000 in some places for one single bedroom, right? So we were like, okay, well, for another $150, move in together, right?
Mm-hmm.
We hated it. Oh God, you don't want to live with a sibling. But it was the only thing we could think of, because you move in with other people and they screw you over.
Mm-hmm.
Roommates screw you over. Friends will screw you over.
And I say, my current roommate is the only one that hasn't, because, yeah.
It's hard to find. It's so hard to find. And when you do, you hold on to that guy for as long as you can, because like, finding another one is going to be like the pits. And
impossible, yeah.
And I've had friends screw over my parents because of it. And I've had to pay back my parents. I've had to pay back my parents because of things that my friends have done. And I do that. I will do that, because it's still my responsibility. But you screwed up.
I won't, because I didn't enter into that bargain. But at the same time, that person that screwed over my parents is dead to me. I already brought this up on the last Minions that I hosted, when I talked about how betrayal is you only get one with me. Yeah. And my former roommate. Everything you just described happened to me with one person.
Yeah, right. Right? So that's just how it is with me. I'm like, oh boy. And you know what the thing is it was me, and my brother had one too. My brother had one too. But I did a lot to fix that, mistake, and I get where you're coming from. I probably shouldn't have had to, but for me it was more because I was angry. It was more like I felt like they had attacked my parents through me.
Yeah.
And that's why I did it, Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah. I get the sense of guilt. I know I felt fairly fucking guilty about it. But again, I didn't enter into the financial arrangement. It's not on me to pay him. Yeah. So, and my parents knew that too. They didn't accuse me of anything. But at the same time, the entire situation, that compounded with the fact that this dude that lived with us for an entire year, never paid a month's worth of rent ever. Yeah. We paid for all of the communal bills. We even paid for his fucking cell phone bill so that he could still try to make money. Yeah. Try to. That was a big sarcasm quotes. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But why do you feel any guilt about it?
Oh, no. I don't feel any guilt about that motherfucker. I cut him loose and good riddance. No, I'm talking about the whole thing he did with my parents and their car when he bought it. I was pissed about it, and I felt guilty about that because, I kind of connect. Lord, no, fuck that guy. And the thing about it is, he has the temerity to say stuff on going back to Facebook there. Yeah. He recently popped up on Facebook between a couple of other friends of ours talking about how one person was a bad friend. I'm like, oh really, motherfucker? I wish I had a Facebook so I can just go off on you right now.
Really?
Oh yeah. He was talking about how when Bob and Nick were talking to each other, he chimes in and says how Nick was being a bad friend. Yeah. Like, are you fucking serious, dude? Oh man. Like I said, I would have given anything to have had a Facebook so I could go off on that motherfucker. But
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
I do have a Facebook and I abstain.
Yeah, I know.
Like I said, it's been 4 years since I've used it. I've probably used it more in the last week just so I could find these articles, just so I could like get the hookups for these groups so I know where the links are, see what's going on, see what the normies are saying, because Facebook is very normie,
Very.
very normie. That's why I got so serious about it. Like, this is why I'm like, listen, guys, when you've got the biggest crew of people who make things happen, organizing something, it's going to be real. And it sounds like I'm being hyperbolic, but no, that's what I mean. And the thing is I can't always understand what it is that they're saying, because even on my level, I don't always understand their organizing. You know, the thing is I don't do a hell of a lot of politics. I do enough to follow along to know who not to vote for and who's fucking me over. But day-to-day life, I'm more focused on my own personal politics. It's more like the stuff that's affecting like my city or like me directly.
Yeah, local politics. Yeah.
Yeah, local, and sometimes it's a lot of American politics because it's just you guys are like a play show, you know.
Well, that and the fact that, like it or not, a lot of our policies affect the world.
It affects us the most directly. And that's gross to say, but it's the truth. Because you are our biggest partner, and your policies will direct us first.
Yes.
Before, you know. And our guys are not good tenders in terms of, like, deal negotiations. Probably from Alberta, I would say yes. Maybe Saskatchewan, yes. There are some in Ontario and Quebec, but they are the ones who are the most silenced. You are not going to hear their voices. Yeah. Or they're mocked by everybody. It's just trash talk from our better people.
Well, for the Quebecois, it's for a good reason.
But yeah, it's an Oompa Loompa land.
Yeah.
Jack was making fun of me. He's like, I've never seen so much hate coming from a Canadian. I'm like, no, this is years of like repressed opinions.
Years of repression.
Years of repression. It is. It honestly is. Like, I talk like this with my brother sometimes. We do this like amongst friends around campfires and shit. But like, you don't do this like amongst like foreigners, you know, because it's not something you would normally do. You don't air out your closets. But, you know, at this point, we might as well, because this problem isn't getting fixed, and I'm going to embarrass the shit out of them, because they like to grandstand and compare themselves to a lot of Americans. A lot of the times they compare themselves to the English, you know, for the Brexit, you know, or they compare themselves to all these different places, and I'm just like, look at yourself.
And ask what you've done today. And if that's nothing, then you can go fuck yourself.
Yes, and that's the same for me too. That's the same for me too. Like, a lot of my rage is, I don't know how Della feels about this, because he might have been on a different end because he's closer to the situation. But those fires up north, I almost had a job going up there to help fix people's homes. You know, to clean out the trash, to get, you know, try to salvage as much as we could. Yeah. And admittedly, I would have gotten paid for it. But it was going to come from an Alberta company. You know, you remember hearing about that, right?
Oh yeah, I applied for that.
Right? And they gave the business to Ontario. Do you remember that?
No,
and I was sitting. You didn't know that? They gave it to Ontario.
No.
Because they were giving them a cheaper price. With foreigners doing it. Not Canadians, not Ontarians. Foreigners doing it. It was outsourced. And I got that letter telling me that. I remember reading it in the article in the newspaper too, and it was such a slap in the face. And it was like, listen, I wasn't asking for that job to be greedy. I was asking for that job because this is the third time in the last 15 years where something in our province has just devastated a large group of our population. I was gonna use a lot of that money to donate back. because I haven't had any money. Um, yes, it was going to pay for a lot of my bills. Yeah, absolutely. That would have gone into our economy too. But I had full intentions of taking a huge chunk of it and just donating it to people who'd lost their houses, because I understood as someone who hadn't had a job in a long time what it was like to lose a hell of a lot. You know, it's a poor person to a community member, you know. And when I read that letter, I was just like, if I was an American and you told me I couldn't go help my neighbor, I understand the money issue. I understand people judging me about that. But if I could have done it for free, I would have done it for free too. You know, but they would have paid for accommodations and food.
Mhm.
You know, so like I told Blind Press that, I told Functional that, and I cried on stream because of it, because I was like, listen, like that kind of thing does not breed loyalty from other Canadians.
Mhm.
You know, like, sorry, I'm like, I don't know what that does to you, but when every time I think of it, like that black hole in my heart is like, wow, I don't know why I'm here. Sorry, like that really pissed me off, because I've had my apartment destroyed in 2005. I just escaped the 2010. And I was working. I spent like every paycheck I would donate like at least $50 to the guys going downtown, because I remember losing all of my childhood things in that flood. You know, so I don't know about you. Like that was my mindset at that tier. You know, you're younger than me too.
Oh yeah, most likely.
Yeah, you're much younger than me too. So like I don't even know from your perspective. Like I just remember, like, for us downtown, like, you know, kids in high school would walk downtown and have to be kicked out because they're stupid. Don't go here. You're gonna fall into a pothole. They go a long ways.
Nowadays, that don't happen so much. Kids are still walking down the street and falling into potholes. Just people stop telling them because, like the kids, they're all distracted by their phones.
Right? Sorry to take it so deep. I'm not meaning to be Debbie Downer all the time. It's just like stuff like that people have forgotten since, like, you know, or that you didn't know. This is why I don't do politics most of the time. This is why I do gaming streams. Because I'll tell the Americans this shit. I'll tell it to you, because I'm all bets off. We should be shamed for it.
You've got a lot of shame right about now.
Right about now. Make fun of me, antlers. Oh god, my friend made fun of me for that. Because the Wexit guy's in the old Albertan flag, and I am proud of my flag. But he was like, so these ties with Britain that you guys have, when building a new flag, I don't know how you know that's gonna fly with the rest of the world. But just a reality check from America.
So wait, the Albertan flag has the Union Jack on it?
It's on a shield.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Most Americans won't care. It's most British that care.
Yeah.
So it is the British cross in the top, and it is on a shield. So that was his two things on it. The rest of it, I was like, well, I don't see any problem with the rest of it, because it's really just mountain, sky, fields, you know, representative of the oil, a little bit towards our natives. It's kind of fixed into the picture. And then I was like, the other alternative is the Alberta rose, which you could do, but that's just our, you know, that's our provincial flower.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can work that into a flag easy too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, man, Americans won't care about it.
They won't?
No.
Okay.
It's the British that'll care, because remember now, do you remember hearing about that stuff in Britain? Some guy wearing a suit with like made out of Union Jacks was denied entry into a bar because that flag is racist.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, the British aren't allowed to have a British identity.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I'm Scottish in my heritage, you know? Like, I thumb my nose at the British all the time, and the English. And I know the Scottish are still British, but I thumbs my nose at them too.
It feels bad because, I mean, you know, as an American, you sit there and look at the American history. We have a long-standing history of rebellion, especially against Europe and England in particular. And with, you know, all of the shit that's happening to Europe, you sit there and go, did you guys not learn anything?
Yeah, pretty much.
From us leaving.
Yeah, we're just like, and no shame to them having their own culture. Like, oh my god, I know they've been shitty people in the past, but like they were kind of cool too.
It's all about the fact that we did things in America for a reason. Okay, we did the whole Bill of Rights thing for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't pick up on that, England? I mean, you're in the situation that you're in now with the whole cracking down on someone because of mean fucking tweets because you don't have a First Amendment. That is fucking retarded.
Yeah.
And Americans are laughing at you. We are laughing at all of your wasted police resources cracking down on people because of their mean fucking tweets. You absolute bellends.
You know,
if I can use your nomenclature.
I would do the same to us too, because you would think we would know better too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I would still say ours is stronger than theirs because of our closeness to you guys. Technically, that's rubbed off a lot on us, but not really.
Yeah, no, it's not as firm. And,
no,
you know.
And it's whittling down a lot. And honestly, they're burying their own hole. This is the thing that I've said repeatedly. What they've done is they've set themselves up for a really bad trap because they've filled their provinces with a lot of migrants, and yeah, they've brought them out here too, but we are not as the same population, and we're a much more dispersed population out here. But they're much more condensed, so they've brought in a huge population of immigrants, and no offense to the immigrants, but they've been promised things. They've been promised housing, healthcare, free goods, free jobs, free education. They expect to have groceries. They expect to have their bills paid, and they've all flooded in for it. So when Alberta goes, which we will, which I know sounds like a threat, but honestly, it's like I said, the most intelligent people right now are the ones who are a lot behind this group. They're just really quiet. That scares me. That they're that quiet. So this is gonna happen. This is gonna get done. I don't know how long it's gonna take. But they're working on the legal part of it. That's the hardest part. So once they get the hardest part done.
Yeah, Alberta wants to secede from Canada. Yeah, cool.
So that money that goes into those programs is gonna be gone. So now you've got a population of people who no longer have free things.
Yeah. They're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to work really hard for it.
That's a really dangerous thing to set yourself up for. And it's really irresponsible. And it's bad for the population that you've brought in. Because we're not doing this to be mean. We're not doing this to be thefts. We're not doing this to be greedy little Jews. Like, I'm not Jewish for the record. I'm Christian raised, but I'm agnostic. But you know, we're doing it because the businesses are gone. And the investors are gone. We're not going to get them back for at least another 10 years. That's the estimation. It might be sooner if we split. Like I said, the smart people are looking into it for a reason. And our investments have lost billions of dollars. So we can't afford it. We really can't afford it. There's a reason we are in a recession right now. So even if we cut them off, the money is going to disappear anyway. It would disappear in 10 years anyway. So you're still in a trap where you've got all these people who've come here with the hope of the same dream, But their dream is mixed up because they've been dreaming about something that's not real. It doesn't exist.
Mhm.
We don't all live with free things. A lot of the engineers out here came from poor families. A lot of farmers, a lot of people who came from fishing villages in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Newfoundland, and same for Quebec, same for Ontario, same for BC, same for Nunavut. All these places, and our jobs are gone.
I just love the fact that there's a territory within Canada called Nunavut.
I know, right?
So there's
None
two.
of it.
There's a third of your country that is none of it.
I know, right?
We'll have
And
none of
Northwest
it. Thank you very
Territories.
much.
I sound like really deep and sad and dark and Debbie Downer, but it's just money and numbers.
Well, money talks, and it says a lot when no one can have the money to get the things that they need. And it's purely because of things like, backwards thinking, navel gazing, and the sort of bullshit power politics that people play.
Mm-hmm.
And all it does is hurt the population. Yeah, it sucks.
Oh god, it's just the thing is I talked to Badger the other day about this stuff because I hopped onto Bloodwing's Discord, for his Bloodwing his 12:30 show. You know what I mean?
You.
And so I'm describing this stuff to Badger, and he's just like, wow, I'm in Germany right now feeling these parallels. Like, you're just repeating what I've just lived through the last 4 years. And I'm like, yeah, the only difference is we just haven't been advertising it.
Well, also that you guys haven't been ruled over by the Fourth Reich.
No, I know, right? That's why we've been keeping our mouths shut.
We know what you were trying to do, Angela Merkel.
We were trying to get it to deflect a little bit off of us, just stay a little bit quiet. I mean, they're still narrowing in on us. They've been doing it very effectively for years, but if you duck a little bit, but no, we can't duck anymore. It's we're gonna get the gangrene here, guys. We're gonna get the gangrene and the Albertans. We don't need the gangrene here. Sorry.
And Sora said that I've been yelling at the GP clinics that deal with new immigrants and refugees because we will not let them cut the line to see our specialists. And man, it seems so weird that people, are feeling entitled when they're coming to a new place, to essentially just to gain benefits. It reeks of entitlement. And see, that's the thing is, again, I say that I'm a liberal. I'm for social programs like that. I'm all for it. But they absolutely do need to have strict controls. Triage is a thing. Okay? You take the most extreme cases first, and then you go by, for extremely non-life threatening and non-important issues, you take them as first come, first serve. What's wrong with that? It's nuts. I don't know, man.
Well, I think.
So
no, you're good.
We've been going on North American politics here for a while here. How's our Aussie doing? Because I see that he's muted.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Terry. I'm so sorry, Terry.
That's all right. I just muted myself and was just listening to you guys talk. There's nothing I could contribute, so I just thought I'd enjoy the show.
If I was more crafty, Terry, I would make you some moose antlers for Christmas.
Oh, that's funny.
One of my absolute favorite jokes from Sleepy Cabin, which if those of you who don't know, Sleepy Cabin was a podcast that was made up of a whole bunch of Newgrounds animators. I highly recommend it. Go back and listen to them. They're fucking fantastic and they're hilarious. But they had one episode where they had a guest on Her name is Sabtastic. She's an artist on Newgrounds. Didn't do animations, but she did, art. And she's a great artist too. You should look her up on Twitter. Her handle is Sabtastique. But she's from Edmonton, and one of my favorite things that she was having this whole story about this stalker that terrorized the shit out of her. But one of the things that Corey Spazkid in 3D on Twitter, who is an animator. You should also look up his cartoons on YouTube. They're hilarious. But he chimes in. He's like, man, you should have gotten the Royal Canadian Mounted Police involved. That are got a shotgun, blasted her off of her moose. That is the greatest Canadian thing that you could have said at any point, Corey.
That's awesome. Fucking A.
Yeah, the only thing I did almost contribute, but I didn't want to interrupt, was when you were saying the gay guy that was chemically castrated in World War II. I think you're talking about Alan Turing.
Yeah, okay.
Turing, yes, yeah.
Sorry, I was just, like I said, I watched the movie. It was a good story, good remembrance for a guy that existed who did some really amazing things. But it's almost like they don't know that they have characters out there that they could base people off of.
Turing was real, and Oscar Wilde was also gay, and he was real.
There are heroes that they already have that they could definitely create characters based off of that would be amazing in Marvel. Mm-hmm. And it's just a little bit of effort, a little bit of thinking about it.
Marvel is not about effort. Come on.
I was just gonna say effort. Whoa, you lost us.
I know, right? This is the thing. I used to watch the cartoons. That's probably where I probably ended up. I probably could have read more comic books than I did, but my brother was more about those. And even then, he got to this age where he just gave up on it, like a lot of kids did. But it's not like I didn't remember enjoying it, or some of the most important quotes didn't affect me or anything like that. So when I see what they do to how far they've damaged the community for it, even I get offended. It's not even on my behalf. I get offended as a nerd. And I'm a weeb too. Even from an anime fan, I'm look at the Japanese. They can create any kind of character.
Oh, because they're not mired in social justice. But give it time. It's going over to Japan.
It's going over there. It's sad. It's really sad. It is going over there. But that's just it. You look at the level of creativity when you just promote people. You watch what you like. It frustrates the hell out of me. There's so many characters in the past that I'd like to see reenacted.
If you're so inclined and you are not aware, I'll shill this a little bit here to everyone who's here. I'm sure that everyone has already seen it, but I think this is the first time I've ever interacted with you, Jen. But
sure.
On Polydub's channel, look up our America Chavez #3 review on comic book curation. Yeah, you can see exactly what we're talking about when it comes to the degradation.
There's so many stories in history that I would love to see reenacted in a new storyline. Certain kings in the past that I think would be amusing to see in an anime or a comic book. And you could literally go to any.
It's just there as a big middle finger to France. Yeah.
Right. You could see an anime based off of that storyline, right? And having something really cool. And I'd rather see our focus from that's my personal opinion on it. If I were to support animes, that's kind of what I go for. So yes, I did support Goblin Slayer because I was at least he's honest.
Goblin Slayer?
Yeah, he's kind of tamed down. I think the new season looks like it might be a little bit better. But I wait for more mangas before I start reading them.
Yeah.
But the first two, yeah. Go ahead.
I've got the website bookmarked for it, but I haven't started reading any of it. What I've heard is that it's like Berserk, only like when it starts off a little bit more hardcore.
Yeah, I think they're doing that again. Like, I don't know how far in that goes for, but it does look like, you know, first episode might be a repeat of like dark kind of themed.
Okay.
But yeah, the first episode, oh god, I hadn't watched it. Don't get me wrong, I knew like people were hyping it up. I didn't know what the hype was about. I refused to listen because I wanted to like judge it first and then listen to what they were bitching about.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I was never really don't get me wrong, I do know the role players. I just didn't do it because like setting up sheets pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
But the aspect of role playing I totally understand. The dice I understand, the aspect of it I get. And the darkness of it I get, because fantasy has never not been dark. Never in history, when you talk about dark ages, has it not been anything but dark.
Mm-hmm.
So when they start freaking out about it, I'm like, you know, the only thing you're freaking out about is the fact that the Japanese are trying to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
That they visualize and then they recreate what they see. So what they're describing to you is what they you know, because they're taking aspects from like, this is the storyline, and this is what happened in the past. If you didn't have women, you were stealing women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yes, they created goblins with the scenario, but like, don't hype it up like they're just attacking women on the street. Like,
well, so it's not even that. It's have they never heard of the Mongols? You know, because
right?
Genghis Khan kind of did that.
Yeah, like, you know, there's Slavs. You know, it's just there's a lot to that I get frustrated when it's that kind of thing in anime. I pissed off a bitch on Twitter for it. I think I really upset her. She was trying to tell me what kind of guys I should find attractive in anime, and I was like, listen, just because you don't look at certain characters in anime and think that they're attractive, and don't get me wrong, it's not always the design. Sometimes it's just the character. The design could be like meh, but the character could be absolutely attractive. But you don't get to sit there and tell me who I do and don't like, and then tell me what my opinion has to be.
Right? That's one of the major things I rebuke about the whole social justice idea, is that people like to tell you what you think. I'm like, fuck you, I can think for myself, bitch.
And when they're like, you know, because this is something I know you guys say all the time, but like I'm starting to call out people a little bit more, because like I said, my fucks have gone a lot further this week than they have in a long time. But I was like, listen, you know, anything that is an entertainment is geared towards both sexes. It might be a little bit more on this one or a little bit more on that one, but every character is geared towards every sex. Now, just because you don't like that design doesn't mean that it doesn't affect other women. Like, there are certainly visuals where I'm like, yeah, the guy was designed with me in mind. Did I necessarily like that one? Maybe not. But I know what they were doing. You know, so like, yeah, big muscled superheroes. Yes, they're going for ladies, because big muscled superheroes pick up ladies. Like, that's...
Shit, I gotta learn to be a big muscled superhero.
No, you don't. No, you do not. No, you do not. Because definitely there are superheroes who are normal guys who do the same thing. And they don't even need to do that. It pisses me off. Like, I'm a daddy's girl, because he's the kind of guy who would go and try to rescue something that he's seen that's been hurt, you know. But he's also responsible too. You know, if he knows that there's nothing that can be done, he's not gonna make it suffer either. So, you know, I've been taught how to deal with that kind of emotion a little bit, and maybe rationalize things a little bit more. But no, regular guys are just as attractive. When you're looking at a comic book, it's like guys who go after like anime girls. It's like, I get why you think they're attractive, but it's kind of gross too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't do that for comic book characters, you know. I know girls who do. I know girls who are very much into Hitalia, who like believe that they're men who are in love with each other. Hello,
Oh God.
trans.
Yeah, the whole yaoi affected. Yeah, I know. It's part of the reason why I stopped going to anime conventions.
Yeah, I know. It's like, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with yaoi as like the concept of like a book about a storyline, but I do have a problem with like girls actually believing that they are the characters and therefore they are gay.
Yeah. I actually had a friend in high school that I remember there was one thing that it made me scratch my head because I didn't understand it, and I still don't. But she said that, and she was one of these ones that was obsessed with yaoi. She said that she believes that she is a gay man trapped in a woman's body.
It happens a lot.
Oh my god.
So you're a woman.
Is that fucking floor sitter woman with the fucking humongous lips?
No, this is someone I knew personally. Someone I knew in real life.
That's what I'm saying. You knew this fucking bitch here?
You know, you don't actually need yaoi for that either. I knew girls who were just like that. It was one of those things where every guy in media that they liked ended up being gay, and they were just like, am I just in the wrong body? Because every guy I like in the media just ends up being really super gay. And I'm like, well, maybe it's just a type.
Yeah, maybe it's just you like effeminate guys.
That's the type. You know, and you just have to look amongst guys around you if that's what you like.
Yep.
But
there's a lot more of them nowadays than there were before.
Well, I don't get me wrong, she's one of my better friends, but you know what? She's still single because she keeps doing it. She keeps going for those guys. So, like, I think it's a young thing when you grow up. Like, you see young guys who are flamboyant like that, and maybe it's the energy or something. I never liked it personally, but I knew a lot of girls who did. So my mom gave me a lot of posters that I still have that I have to burn at some point. But no, like, you know, I was more often listening to my brother's music sometimes, or just like listening. It was a mixture actually. You know, but my mom would give me like Backstreet Boys, and I'd put them on my wall just so like my friends would see it, and I'd be like, I don't really listen to these guys. I mean, I have them because my mom keeps buying them for me because we're on like record deals for CD companies. You remember those?
Oh yeah, the Columbia House and shit.
Yeah, you know, and I'd have all of them. I'd be like, I don't really listen to these. If they're on the radio, I listen to them because like they're on the radio.
I actively avoided the radio.
I feel for you, Della. How was Nickelback for you growing up? It wasn't at all like it was for me.
I don't give a shit.
No?
Look at this photograph.
See, if you lived in Calgary and you liked listening to the old rock station, it was Nickelback every half an hour for every CD that they've ever made.
Oh God. Look at this photograph.
So even if it wasn't really a matter of whether or not I liked them or not. It was just you've kind of brainwashed me to hate them. Yeah. Because they're Albertan bros, you know, you gotta show support for Alberta bros. And I'm like, I do support our industry. Believe me, I do. But please, for the love of God, and Celine Dion, for the love. My mom had one of those cars with like the 6 CD slots. So every single one would be like Barbara Streisand, Celine Dion, Barbara Streisand, Celine Dion, Barbara Streisand, Celine Dion. And she would do this to my dad at home too.
I probably would have put a gun in my mouth.
Yes. Well, we suspect that he used to go out to his garage to do stuff.
Yeah. If it were me, it would be hitting myself in the head with a hammer, but you know.
That a little bit too, but I mean, he does do that anyway because he's an engineer. But like a little bit of that, and then we don't doubt that he would come in a lot happier first.
See, I grew up in the 90s, and the 90s was like a magical age when literally anything could be pop music.
Yeah.
And I loved it because I discovered bands that I still listen to this because of that kind of shit. Real Big Fish is one of my absolute favorites. I'm very much into punk and ska, and there was a time where punk and ska could be played on the radio. That's fucking cool. That doesn't happen anymore. I'm pining for the 90s. Remember the 90s?
I haven't
Oh
listened to the,
boy.
I haven't listened to the
What was
radio.
that? What was that, Terry? I didn't hear that.
I haven't listened to the radio since last time I was in a car, and I don't even remember when that was.
Oh God.
That's the only time I
I-
ever listened to the radio was when someone was driving me somewhere and they would put on the radio for driving music.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
that would have been at least 6
I commute every day, but I never turn on the radio. I always listen to like an audiobook or something.
And
Or like my iPod.
well, I can't drive, so the only time I was ever in a car was if someone happened to be driving
Else
me
was
somewhere.
driving. Gotcha.
And and that's been a good 6-7 years since anyone's had a reason to drive me anywhere. So
I am envious of your hermit lifestyle, Terry. Have I mentioned that?
it's a good lifestyle. I'm happy with it.
Yeah. The major thing is that you don't need to go to work every day. I feel like a wage slave.
Well, that is one of those things where people who say if I won the lottery, I'd still work. Is like, then you don't need to win the lottery. Like you would,
Yeah.
like my entire working life, the objective was work until I have enough money that I don't need to work anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that was from the start. The entire purpose of going to work was one, to pay for necessities, but to use the leftover to get to the point where I didn't need to work anymore.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously, the inheritance sped things along, but I think I was still on track for a relatively early retirement, even if I hadn't, just because I don't spend money on much. Like,
Mhm.
I have fairly simple tastes. Money was just accumulating in my account, and then when I lost my job at the bank, I decided, you know what, I should actually invest this because I didn't know when my next job was going to be, and I wanted more than bank interest to live off.
Mhm.
And so I did that, and then I worked for my cousin for like 2-3 years, and then my father passed away, and my grandmother, and the whole messy legal thing happened. But end result was I got my inheritance and invested that and sold the unit that I inherited, and yep, go away, work, I never want to see you again.
I'm hoping I can get there one day. First, I gotta get rid of all of my credit card debt and student loans. My car's
Yeah.
paid off. That's a good thing.
There you go.
But
Yeah, I mean, some things obviously are necessities that you have to pay for. I mean, there's getting around that.
I just saw Soraluna quiz. Did you like Jamiroquai? Abso-fucking-lutely. Jamiroquai was awesome.
Yeah, I think my parents were kind of similar in that sense. Like it was, I mean, they lingered in work because they did enjoy the job. But I mean, a lot of their work, I mean, it is socializing, but most of it's on your own, you know. So you're not necessarily talking to people all the time anyway. But for them, it was like pay off everything that you can that is an investment as soon as possible. That is what they've always taught me in life. I mean, I've never been able to do that because every time I've gotten my foot into something, you know, like government screwed me over, and my own personal decisions too. I own up to them. Like I've gotten into investments that failed, and that was still a decision of mine. But the rule of thumb is once you invest in something, you pay it off right away. You get your debt done, and then you invest in everything else. So that way, once you're done, you're just free to do whatever you want. So my mom would have days where, you know, working 14-hour days for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks for final end. And she between my mom and my dad, they would buy shares. A hell of a lot of investments in shares. And when they retired, which they got lucky because they retired before all this shit happened, they sold them. Bought government share, like not government, but like, you know, government investments, so they're living off of their interest. I don't get any of that. Well, I mean, if they decide to like be kind to me, maybe, but I've told them, like, listen, like, I don't want to be that kid. Do not treat me like that kid. I own up for my own stuff. I want to earn my own way. Not to say that they won't, but I've told them not to. Just saying.
Well, I would say that, you know, don't be too proud to ask for help, because
No.
I know I have. When I lost my job here 3 years ago, I had to ask my parents for help, and of course they obliged. But yeah,
Well, yeah.
it's a blow to the pride, to be sure, but it's better than starving.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, they do help us out, like, but like I return the favor to the best of my abilities. Like, even like my mom had her knees gone the last 2 years, so I'm like, you know what? Use me as your free nurse. I'm not really a nurse, so like, don't ask me to get. Well, I mean, I'll hand you the drugs, but
Don't ask me to insert an IV.
Yeah, you know, but if you want me to run around grabbing stuff for you, I'll do it. That's what I did. You know, it's the same for my dad. If he needed me to come over and help him with lifting stuff, that's what I did. But I don't act like the kid who's like, I'm owed this shit. And that's, I think that's the most important thing that I try to express, because I am from Calgary. So there are a lot of rich punks here.
Yeah.
We have our bitches too. So
yeah, you have your yuppies just like we do.
Yes. So but
at least here in Chicago they're segregated. They live on the North Shore.
Yes. I've still done everything I could to earn everything I have. Like, the computer that I own has been earned with my own money. So like, these are things I like to express. But like, then you talk to someone who's in the old patch, and you're like, dude, you know what? When you lost money, you lost 60 grand. When I lost money, I lost, like, it's still a lot of money, but but they also lost, like, their investments in college, and that one's not to laugh at.
No.
So, well.
All right. Well, I think now's gonna be a good time to call it here, guys. We're going.
Are you tired? I'm sorry.
No. It's just we keep. This is like the 5th time we've had to reconnect or something like that, and it's starting to get to the part where it stays in the red a bit after it reconnects. It's reconnecting faster, but I'm just like, you know, let's not push the luck. We've gone over 2 hours now. We've had a good run.
Oh yeah.
We can save some for another time too, and we can still talk off air anyways. But I think we'll end this
Yeah.
thing here.
Sure.
So you guys want to take turns, go around, do final words or shills or whatever? Jen?
So right now, in the works, I am going to be ending up doing a stream at some point. Like I said, I just want a little bit more experience before I host one, because it's really going on and keeping topics going. So yeah, I am visiting other people. I am, like, sometimes going on to streams, but I won't go on unless it's an invite, because I'm not that guy. But I do have my talking points at the moment, so like, it's really Canada based. I'm trying to, like, split out to other things so I don't go crazy. But yeah, you're gonna see me around, and I'm gonna try and support you guys too, because I am the community member who will do that. Because I do appreciate the fact that a lot of people have helped me out over the last 2 weeks, because like, a lot of my mental stress was blown up, you know, because like I said, lots of really smart people were telling me to freak out, and I was like, I'm gonna hold off on that, but you still kind of freak out, let's be real.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, anytime you guys have stuff, you know, shill it anywhere. I will try to share it on my Twitter. I'm just trying to be cautious with that though, because I do have a lot of Wexit people following me. I might have picked up 40 people who might be Wexiteers, so and there you go.
Quiz.
Minions on Mondays. I paint minis, which might be a little bit more difficult. we'll see if I can get this laptop up and running. Till then, it's currently updating. That's what the problem is. Till then, I'm also working on my PC back there to see if I can retain some semblance of normality. But I also do comic book curation on Wednesdays. So yeah, watch those on Polydub's channel.
And Terry.
I really need to get something to shield just so that I don't waste all these opportunities. I've got nothing to shield other than Minions, which has already been covered, and if you like Jackbox games, watch Jack Gunsky on Tuesdays, which unfortunately competes with Minions, so you will have to pick one or the other.
Well, you can watch one and then come back and watch the VOD for the other.
Yeah, you can, but you can only watch one of them live unless you have two audio broadcasts playing at the same time, which might be a bit hard to follow.
Oh, yeah.
And they're sort of throwing out your trademark there, Terry, too.
Yeah, like the like.
Alright. And if that's all, I want to thank everyone for stopping by, both on the panel and in chat. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. I had a good time, and despite all the connection issues, this is always fun for me, so, you know. Thanks for, you have so much options to watch on YouTube, and you chose this show, so thank you for that. And you come back, so I thank you very much for that. So join us next time when we promise to entertain you with more difficulties of the technical variety. And until then, check out the links in the description, Twitter's for the panel, and YouTube channels for the panel as well, and all that other fun stuff. And yeah, be sure to check out Minions of the Zoo tonight, where Lucky Pop-Tart is scheduled to host. So yeah, take it easy, guys.
See you later, everyone.
See ya.
Good night.
Thanks for having us too, Della.
Yeah, no worries.